The next part here, I glued the strap onto this part here. In other words, this is going to be so this is going to be stitched onto here, and we'll eventually put a snap on here, and that's going to hold the knife into the sheath. It'll offer more retention. The next thing after that is I'll glue this onto here, very much like this. Okay, so it goes right there on the back. Make sure I got that in the camera. So that's going to go on there like that next. But first thing we have to do is punch holes for the stitching and also stitch that, because we can't do that if we have this folded over, so the belt loop. So we got to do this in stages. And so a couple tools I use. This is a edge groover. It's a little sharp on this one end, and that goes up against you set this at your stitching spacing, which I set at 1/4 of an inch, and then you just run this along here to make a stitching line. And so that's what I did on both sides here, and then I just measured in and used my awl to create a stitching line. So that's going to help me keep those straight. And then I'm going to use what they call a stitching iron to create the holes. And we'll do the same thing when we create the holes here, except we'll also use a drill press. And I'll take you along on that too. So I'm going to come around here, and hopefully you can see me okay. Looks like you can. And I'm going to line this up as best I can on those lines and create my stitching holes. So I'll come back once I have that done. Well, let me just show you one. Basically I'm just going to do this, and you got the rubber mat here, which, as you can see, absorbs that. And then I'm just going to take my mallet and pop that through and carefully pull that out. And so then it makes the stitching holes. Okay, so I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so I'm back, and here's what it looks like once I get it done. And now I'm gonna stitch this. So let me get the stitching pony set up here, and I'll show you what I do there. And the one thing on this I would explain is that when you're stitching here, see, it doesn't go quite that far, but then when I make my next one, I want to line all those holes up, and that helps keeps it straight. Keep it straight there. So just a little tip there, but I'll bring you back. Okay, I'm back, and hello. I'm facing the camera now, just a better angle. So really glad you all are coming along on this with me. Now we're stitching. This is some of my favorite parts of leatherworking. So I do what's called a saddle stitch, and that's where you have thread, you have needles on both sides of the thread. So I'm going to go in the left side and then back through the same hole from the right side and pull them tight. So that's what I'm doing here. This is a stitching pony. A viewer, Walter is his name, actually made that for me. He's a woodworker and a leather worker, and he has other, he does some 3D printing and things like that. So he made that for me, and this has been a really valuable tool. And so we're going to stitch the strap here on the top. Now, it's hard for me to get that very close for you to see what I'm doing, but I'll try to do that with some future footage. And I probably won't record this whole thing because that would just be a little bit boring. But we'll stitch a few, and I'll kind of show you what I do, and then I'll come back. So I'm going to come in from the left side. This is my left side. Come into the next hole. I make sure this is even, this thread. And I'm going to come in from the left. I'm going to pull that in, and then I'm going to come in right behind it. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll come in right behind there, and I'm going to loop it around. on the other side. And then I'm going to pull this tight. Okay. And I don't know, I might try to, I don't think I can make it bigger there, but I'll show you what the stitch looks like here in just a minute. Then I'm going to come in, I'm going to do it again from the left. Take this one, pull this thread away, back, and try to go to the right side of that hole. Why? Because I don't want to skewer the other side of the thread. I do it all the time. It's a mess, and I don't want to do that if I can help it. Loop that around and pull it tight. So I'm using wax thread, leather thread, comes out of school like this. This is the color that Kevin and I kind of chose, and it's a light tan, and that's a great combination with the British tan dye. So come back around that way, and then go to the left as much as I can, loop it around, and pull it tight. When I get to the very end of this, I will actually backstitch. When I backstitch, I'm going to then come back 3 stitches from the opposite side and come back in. I'm going to go backwards, and then I'll burn it with my lighter. I'll burn the ends on the other side, the whole stitching in. So that's basically what's going on now, and I'll bring you back when I get done. Okay, I'm back, and we have the strap stitched onto the belt loop. So there we go, and went pretty well. Had a little bit of an issue with it towards the end, but not anything that's going to cause an issue. And then this is going to be glued back over this way, and then we're going to stitch right in here. Okay, we're back for the next segment. The last time I left you, I had stitched the strap on to the belt loop, and in the meantime I punched, glued, and stitched the belt loop together. So that's all ready to go. I also glued the main stitch line here together, the main part of the sheath, and I did a lot of work on sanding this edge and doing some shaving on this edge, trimming to get it as straight as possible, because this needs to be very even and straight, or your stitching line is not going to be straight. So well, hopefully we've got that good enough to have a really good stitching line. I think we do. I worked on it quite a bit, and so I think we're ready to use our edge groover once again to make a stitching line on both sides. We're going to go both sides, and then we will take our stitching iron and make holes. We don't have to go very deep. As you can see, I mentioned this before, that doesn't go all the way through. So we're going to have to make some holes to guide us, and then we'll use our drill press, and it's over here, our drill press, to finish up making the holes. And I may or may not film that. That's kind of difficult and really takes a lot of concentration, but basically a drill press is going to be the best thing for that. I for a long time used a hand drill. There's the hand drill up there that I used all the time there for a while until I got my drill press. And so we'll just come along and make a stitching line on both sides. Then we will do the stitching iron to make some guide holes for our stitches. And then we'll take our drill press, drill those out the rest of the way. Then I also take an awl and open up every single hole a little more so that our thread doesn't get hung up inside the stitching hole. So a few more steps here. Then we can stitch it, and then we can finish this off with dye on the edge, and then we burnish, and then we do sheen treatments of sheen, protective coating, and then we also do a leather conditioner that's made of wax, beeswax, olive oil, and coconut oil, made by Ken's Last Chance Knives, Ken over there. So those are the steps. Oh, we also have to cut this to the right length and round the corners and put our snaps in. So we got a few more steps here, so I'll bring you back for those. But I can do the stitching line and a couple of holes of stitches here while we're on camera, just to kind of show you what we do with that. So I'm going to take this. As you can see, it's got kind of it's got a sharp end on this side. And the first thing I want to do is take my ruler and just make sure that we got it at 1/4 of an inch. So yeah, it's a 1/4 of an inch stitch, and that's what I want. I've got a 1/2 inch welt. See there, I can see my welt, and if I put that up against there, we can see that's going to go about halfway across that welt, and that's what we want. So I think we can do this. Let's see here. I'm going to start on this end, on the show side, but what I would call the show side. And I don't want to go all the way to the top. I want to go part way. And just slowly go down the edge there. So there we go. There's one. And we go and flip it over. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. And there we go. Gives us a guide. Now, I'll just do a couple of these. I won't do all of them. I take my stitching iron and my mallet. Okay. And I'm going to start doing some holes here. I need to make sure that not only you can see, but I can see what's going on. There, I'm just going to do that. I'll come right down there like that. Staying on the stitching line. I don't have to go very deep. Just like that. So I'll go all the way down. I'll go all the way down that way. So I'll bring you back when we get ready to stitch. Okay, now I have my stitching holes as a guide, and now I'm going to use the drill press to do this, and I'll just do a few here to show you what it looks like, but and how it works. But I'm going to go real slow with this, and hopefully you can see me. I'm not seeing the camera angle here, but here we go. I like to stop. Oh yeah, it's looking great. Looking great. Okay, so you get an idea there, but there's what happens, and it's looking really straight, really nice, following the stitch line really nicely. So I think this is going to turn out really great. So we'll bring you back when we stitch. Okay, we're back, and hello. We're ready to stitch the main section of the sheath. So we're on the home stretch now, and this is for Kevin, you know, the knife doctor, and I have something that I think he'll like. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's the weather radio. We'll leave that on for a little bit because I just as a little nod to the knife doctor. What a great channel. So here we're going to do, we've got our needles here, and we are going to come in on this side. I'll turn that down just a little bit there. And in fact, I might just turn it off. We might turn it back on here in a little bit. So I do like to listen to the Weather Channel. I started watching the Knife Doctor and his videos, and I was like, oh, I have a Weather Channel. I actually like listening to the Weather Channel when I work, you know. So I brought it in. It was in my office, and I never listened to it there. And I thought, well, I'll probably make better use of that at home. So I have been listening to it, Kevin. So it is very soothing. It's relaxing. So we're going to come in from the left-hand side just like we did before, when I showed you that before. And we're going to even up our two needles. Now I have a long bit of thread here. I do not want to run out of thread. I'd much rather have a whole bunch left over than not. So it does get kind of hung up on things, but I just deal with it. So we're going to come in from the left, and I'm going to pull that around. It'll be a little awkward here for a bit until we get going. Yeah, I may have to use our pliers a little bit. Oh, it's not too bad. I kind of get hung up because we're too big. Oh, there we go. The first stitch is in, and we're just going to come back down. And then we come back around. I'm not looking at the camera very well, so forgive me. Come up here, loop it around on the other side. And let me try to show you what's going on here. Hang on one second. Okay, I changed the angle so you can kind of see what's happening here on the other side. Now I'm going to come in here. First I get hung up, and I'm going to push it in that hole, pull it out, grab my other needle on the other side. Very awkward with the camera here. Push that through, pull that around, and then on this one I may have to use pliers. Just to kind of pull it through. There we go. Yeah, well, this is nothing compared, I mean, it's a little difficult, but this is nothing compared to the last projects I did, which were for Buck 119 and 120. Big knives, big sheaths, lots of layers of leather to go through on portions of that. So there we go. And I can use my pliers to pull it through. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and I caught the string on the other side just a little bit. but you get the idea there, I think. So I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll bring you back for the final steps. Okay, I'm back here. I've been working on the strap. I finished up this part of the sheath, and it is now stitched completely, and it turned out beautiful. I mean, just beautiful. So I think it just turned out great. So now I'm working on the strap. I've got one snap there, and I want this to fit really tight because this is not real tight in there, which is okay and makes it easier to get out. But I want to make sure that when he snaps this, it's not coming out. So I want that to fit really tightly. So I've been kind of just taking my time here trying to figure that out. But I'm ready for the last snap. Now I've marked a little hole right there where it needs to go. I need to punch a hole in that to put our snap in. So I've got my punch, very small punch here to fit, just fit the size of that snap. So I am just going to come out just a tad bit. I'm pretty much going to stay right on the mark. Okay, do that. Now we've got a hole. Now we can take our snap, our other end of our snap, and we're going to push it through that side using copper colored snaps. Then I put our other piece of our snap there. Then I have an anvil, put that on our marble, and let's see here. Yeah, that would be fine. And then I have my setter. Each snap size has its own setter, and so you have to have the right setter for the right snap size. Okay. Get that on there straight and tight. Oh, it's looking good. Okay, that should do it. Nice and straight. Okay, moment of truth. It goes in. Oh yeah. And it snaps. There we go. Yeah, just perfect. That'll kind of mold to that and break in and look even better. So there's our snap. Now I have one more, a couple things we'll do is we'll dye the edges of this and burnish those, of course, but also see how that is metal, and that's going to be hitting the handle of his knife. Well, we don't want that, so we'll put a little piece of felt on there. So I just cut a little piece of felt and cut the corners. Just going to cut the corners off. Doesn't have to be perfect. And this is really sticky stuff. It's from Velcro. Take that off, and I'm going to put that little piece of felt right here. And he can take it off if he wants to, but now that'll protect the knife. All right, let's test it again here. Oh yeah. Looks good. It's not coming out of there. That's what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. All right, that's awesome. Okay, it's straight, and there we go. All right, well, I'm gonna get ready, prepared to do some final touches here, and I'll bring you back. Okay, we're back. We're getting really close to having this done. So the next thing we need to do is we need to dye these edges right here. And then we'll do some burnishing. I don't have my burnisher out here. Get that out, okay. And so So that's the next thing we need to do. So we'll get our die back out. And I'm not even putting gloves on, which might be a mistake. But I just want to come along this edge here, just real lightly. You don't want to get too crazy with it. And make sure you get it covered good. Okay, I thought I saw a scratch on this somewhere. No, maybe not. There was another area here that I wanted to get. And we might as well do those edges to match it. Okay. And probably at the top. Okay. Set that down. Of course, I got dye on my hands. Then we need to do our edges here. I'm not even looking at the camera here, so hopefully you're seeing what I'm doing. Just come along here where we trimmed that. Okay. There we go. That's all we need. Close your die up. Now, gonna let that just kind of sit for a minute, but then we take our burnishing tool and you're gonna come along here. You don't have to use a lot of pressure. I'm just coming along here and doing this, put a nice edge. And what burnishing is doing is it really is just melding the fibers of the leather together, kind of melts them. And I'm going to use a compound here in a minute that'll even make them even more slick than they already are. It just seals over those edges of that leather and helps protect it. So yeah, that's what we're doing now. Do a little bit there, a little bit up here, and then we'll come back. I want to move this out of the way. Now what I use is Tonicol, and that's my burnishing gum. So now I'm going to take that just a little bit on my finger. You don't need a whole lot. I'm just going to rub it down through here. Okay, I'm going to take my burnisher and finish up the edges here. And this one turned out really nice. It's probably one of the nicest edges I think I've done. And then I'm going to take this and I go up here. And then I can go around like this. You can see what it's doing there. It's slicking the edges. I'm going to come over here on this side. I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, it's good. Now I can do my strap. A little bit on the strap. Sorry, I wasn't in the camera. Do the other side. A little too much there. And I'm just doing these edges. Okay, wipe the excess off. There we go. Now the other thing I want to do too is I want to do a little more of this. Kind of deflushing that. It's really a burnishing of these areas. There. Okay, on the rag. I like to take a rag here and wipe the edges and wipe it all off. Get the excess off of there. Okay, I'm going to need this in just a minute. Get over here in the paper towels. Shake that up real good. And we'll put this on. And then we'll buff it. And then I'll put the leather conditioner, which is this right here from Last Chance Knives. And then we'll buff it up. So I think I'll bring you back with the finished product. Okay, we're back with the final segment of this project. It is the finished product here, the sheath, the leather sheath for the case fin. And this was requested by the Knife Doctor, Kevin over there. Thank you, Kevin, for this. And let's just take a look around this. I've got it all shined up, protected with sheen, and treated with leather conditioner. And you can see the snap there. It is a copper snap, and it holds the knife in there very nicely. I'll show you that in a minute. Here's the knife once again. I called it a little fin, but I think it might be just a fin. Might be the model number. Maybe someone can help me out with that. But look, it is not coming out of there. Here's the back. There's the maker's mark without the flag this time, because we have the flag in USMC, United States Marine Corps. Kevin is a veteran. Thank you, Kevin, for your service. And if you haven't watched The Knife Doctor or subscribed to his channel, you definitely need to. He has just got a fantastic channel. I'm hooked. I'm just a fan. And I really appreciate that very much, Kevin. And I appreciate you asking me to do this project for you. And I think it just turned out beautiful. And you did a fantastic job on the knife itself. So you need to check out his channel. So with that, thank you to the Knife Doctor, and thank you for watching.